Welcome to the Black Gay History Channel. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel for more captivating content. I thoroughly enjoyed the latest Elvis movie, which premiered in 2022 with much fanfare and a blessing from Elvis's living relatives. This new iteration of the music legend's life not only had some interesting modern interpretations of some of his popular music, this movie also did a great job of reminding the viewer that much of Elvis's musical inspiration came from black people, even black gay musicians that came before him. Though Elvis was crowned the king of rock and roll for his takeover of popular music in the 1950s, many of his white fans never really appreciated that many of his hits were either inspired or directly written by black gay artists. In the beginning of the film, we see a young Elvis growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, in black neighborhoods, and was heavily influenced by black gospel music he heard in black churches. Elvis cited Sister Rosetta Tharpe, a queer black gospel singer, as one of his inspirations, and her iconic guitar rhythms would be one of the bases for rock and roll music even today. I absolutely loved that one of my favorite country singers, British vocal powerhouse Yola, got to play Sister Rosetta Tharpe in this movie. She has such a beautiful voice, and I've been such a fan of her albums and her takeover of the country soul genre for many years. Big Mama Thornton's rock anthem, Hound Dog, would only be allowed on black radio stations, but when Elvis sang the same record on white radio stations, the song became a sensation and one of his most notable and iconic hits. And if Elvis was the king of rock and roll, then Little Richard was the godfather. Though Little Richard and Elvis were becoming musical stars at the same time in the 1950s, Little Richard was a black gay man without the same support in the music industry or the same audience. Though Little Richard wavered about his sexuality many times throughout the years, he was very clear in the media that his first radio hit, Tutti Frutti, was very literally about backdoor love. Though he had to change the lyrics, the original lyrics were Tutti Frutti, good booty. So yes, one of the first rock and roll songs in history is a gay sex anthem. In the movie, Elvis would be seen constantly heading into black spaces to get inspiration for his music, and though he first started singing songs marketed to country music fans, there's a scene where Elvis heads to a black music joint to see Little Richard perform. In this film, Little Richard, born Richard Wayne Penniman, is played by the gorgeous supermodel Alton Ellis, who seductively bears his soul and his literal chest in his performance as he woos the crowd. Many observers would note that it's likely that Elvis wasn't just inspired by Richard's music, but also his wild performance style, shaking his hips, screaming, and flirting with the girls in the crowd while he sang. Little Richard, especially in his younger days, wasn't scared to get sexy while he performed, and this clearly had an impact on Elvis as well. I'm glad the filmmakers this time around made it clear for audiences around the world that black and queer artists had a hand in making the king of rock and roll what they are today.